Milwaukee for day one of the Pokemon regional event. And now with this video, it's going to be a little bit different than my normal coverage because this time I actually have my son competing in the junior division for the TCG. Now, it's one of those, it's quite different when you're actually here as a Poke mom, as I like to call it, with someone competing, especially in the junior level. Now, when my son told me he wanted to start actually competing in a regional event, while I had gone to regional events before, it's quite different because you're having to figure out what do you need to do from a parent's aspect of things. So look at the scenario. Your child likes to collect the cards and then they decide, hey, I want to learn how to play. Where do I start as a parent? Whether you know something or not, it's always best to go to your local card shop and start there. There's a lot of local card shops that actually will have locals night. So if you go to the Pokemon website, you can actually search for different events. Starting there is a great way to get a small introduction into it. And from there, you meet other people, you learn how to play the game, and just have a lot of fun and a lot of learning. Now, after some time, your child goes, hey, I want to compete. Well, first of all, it's one of those things where a lot of people do not realize there's actually legit competition, just like with any sort of sports, any sort of activities, cheerleading, dance, football, basketball, band competitions, drama competitions with performing arts, things like that. There are competitions for Pokemon, and there's 3 main categories for it. Technically, you have the card game or TCG, you have VG or the video game, and then of course you have Pokemon Go. And then the 4th one, which only is done at an actual event, is for the international championships, is Pokemon Unite. Other than that, all of their stuff is online. Navigating the opportunity to let your child compete because they're really interested, they really want to take it to the next level. Of course, you can start more locally where there are challenges which are done by these card shops that have been sanctioned by Pokemon to be play stores, and then from there, usually about once a quarter, there is a cup. And depending on your performance for that, depends on if you're able to get points and stuff like that. Now, let's just say your child's done the challenges, they've done the cups and things like that, but now they want to go to a bigger competition, in this case a regional convention such as here in Milwaukee. Now, on the Pokemon website, there's a list of different championships, and you can actually go by different regions. Of course, since I'm located in the Central Florida area, my area is going to be mostly the North American region. Now, with all that, there is a lot to do, and let me tell you, even though I've been playing before and I've gone to several regional events on my own, I was still a little bit lost of what to do. And to be honest, I wish I had some assistance when it came to finding out all this information. And getting all that information, I relied heavily on my little group, so to say, when it comes to Pokemon. There is a group of people that I tend to play with, a lot of locals, and we've kind of become our own little Pokemon family. Now, navigating a regional event as a parent is a lot different. Of course, you have to not only be a chaperone and plan everything, but you're the one who makes sure that your child is registered. And in order to even start there, you have to go to a website called RK9. Literally, the letters are RK9. You'll be able to see it right down, I want to say about here. And with that website, you are going to have to create your child a profile. Now, that also includes creating an email address for your child if your child does not already have one. I utilize Google, so I was actually able to make a child's account that is connected through my Google account, so I know the password, I have access to it, all that stuff, because of my son's age, and the internet and all that stuff can be a crazy place. So once you get all that situated, then you can go and you can register. Now, one good thing about registering with either a junior or a senior is you get a companion pass. And those prices are usually going to be cheaper. So literally it comes to, you're paying for entry for one person to play and then one person to chaperone. since they do need to have a chaperone. So you're able to get your child registered, which is great because trust me, being in that queue can be a little nerve-wracking, especially when you're used to doing it from a master's level where you have a lot of those in the master's category going out and competing and being in a little like waitlist room, one of those virtual queues, which doesn't get the really cool music, but hey, at least you can watch videos if you want. So once you get all that, you'll actually get an email. There's an email that's sent to your child's account, and then of course you get your email, and you need to save that because that is what you'll utilize to register when it is time. Now, traveling with a junior is a lot different than if you're actually traveling to an event as an adult, as a master, as whether it's a competitor or a spectator, because not only are you making sure all of your stuff is ready, but you're making sure their stuff is ready. That includes getting things ready for a deck, make sure everything's correct, getting that deck list submitted, not only making sure you have what you need, but making sure what your child needs as well. And of course, with all of the travel arrangements and the travel itself. Now, I personally was up since before 2 a.m. on travel days, since our flight left at 5, and the entire week I was already prepping, making sure I had things ready. I had a list of his cards for his deck list. I had that put on his Arcanine profile. And from there, I submitted it as soon as I can because that would be one less thing I have to stress about. And trust me, sometimes this can be a lot of stress. Now, you've done the travel aspect of things. You are finally arrived at the event. And one of the first things that you want to be able to do is, of course, comes to actually picking up the registration. That is why I said save that email, because with that email you are able to utilize that in order to pick up your wristband at wristband pickup. Now, this does not really have a line right now, which is great, but of course you all have that waiting when it comes to it. Now, with the Milwaukee event, we actually ended up getting 2 different wristbands. The red one, of course, shows that you are here for the regional championships, and then the paper one, or your stereotypical wristband, is your champion gear voucher, and that is once you go through the line where you can get special merchandise. They cut that thing off, showing that, hey, I've already gone through once and I cannot go through again. And personally, I love that because it helps regulate things. Now, juniors usually, and seniors, of course, they usually start about 30 minutes or so later than the seniors, but yet you still want to make sure you get here early to get through the convention center security. And it's one of those things, you never know how the line's going to be. For example, in Pittsburgh, that line was super crazy. If you did not see my Pittsburgh video, go on ahead, watch it, give it a like. You can see how crazy that line is. Now, with the Milwaukee one, they ended up doing it a little bit better, so going through the metal detectors and stuff was a lot. Now, having the wristband, you've got all that picked up, and then you can actually go in. I always recommend making sure you get there the day before, so usually on a Friday, so you can kind of get a layout of how it is. Now, with this particular one, it is a bit more of an open layout, which is quite nice. And with the open layout, it makes things a lot easier to try and figure stuff out, where all the food and all of that stuff is. So as you can see, it does get a little bit more crowded and a little bit more loud. This is the prize wall for Milwaukee. They have a few different stuff. And of course, in order to get some of these items, you do earn tickets through different side events. But there's hats, there's plushes. They even have Nintendo Switch games. They have, looks like, puzzles, figurines, more plushies, playmats, packs, ETB, so they have the Destined Rivals, Pokemon Center ETB, and then those are the regular ETBs for only $300. And they have the one item that I've been trying to get every single regional event, of course, the egg incubator. And they actually have socks this time, which is really adorable. And in case you don't see anything you like, they actually have a catalog, which is going to be nice. So in order to get these, you have to get tickets for different side events and stuff like that. But this is just all the things that you're able to get and all the points. They also have the screens up, and it's just scrolling through all of the different things that you're able to get, what's on the prize wall and what is actually in the catalog. And overseeing everything is this lovely little ferret for 1,000 tickets. You too can buy a seat on the plane for it if you flew. But as you can see, they've got stuff for VG, they got TCG, all of it. Now the setup for streaming is just a little bit different this time around. It's actually off in the corner, but of course green always is for Pokemon Go, and they have a little bit of seating. And then we go over here where red of course is for VGC, and they have all that up and ready. And then we're gonna slowly make our way down a little bit more where they have more seating, not the nice fancy chairs, but it will do. And then of course you have the TCG, which is going to be coming live both on Twitch and of course YouTube, streaming starting tomorrow. After all, Milwaukee is in Central Time Zone in the USA, so those of us like myself who is used to Eastern Time, it's an hour behind. And then this is just a setup of it this year. It's a lot more open, a little bit different. And yeah, and of course they have Go all the way over here. And of course one of my favorite things to do is the Go scavenger hunt.
Hi, so I'm Draco. I'm a junior for the trading card game. This is my first regional ever. My favorite, I've been playing for 3 months. My favorite Pokemon is Pikachu.
Now, Draco, how do you feel about competing in your first regional event ever?
Excited and
Nervous? What is a goal that you have when it comes to competing?
Try to beat my streak.
Your streak, what's that?
So, wins in a row. So right now it's at 2. I'm trying to get 3 wins in a row.
Okay. And is there anything you want to say for someone who wants to compete in their first regional event ever?
Right now, the best deck to play is probably Glengo, because I got smoked like a couple of times.
Now, when it comes to a regional event, sometimes you'll see a lot of more those in the Masters category practicing things like that. Not as much as the junior division. So one thing you can do is you can actually spend time practicing or play testing with your son or daughter, or your nephew, your niece, whoever they may be. That way they can start preparing and be mentally prepared for the long day that will happen tomorrow. So, for example, right now, my son and I, what we're doing is we're just playing. He is competing for the first time in a regional event in the junior category, and juniors is going to be ran completely different. If you don't know how to play the card game at one of these regional events, they have this thing called the First Step where they can teach you, or if you want to learn at home, they sell battle academies, which is very, very helpful with learning the basic rules of the game. So we're going to get started, we're going to play a little bit, and just practice, because the more you practice, the better things are. So a lot of times when it comes to having your child actually compete, especially in the junior division, is sitting around and waiting. There is a nice, lovely little parent section where they have a lot of parent seating, and it's one of those things where this is pretty much where you kind of just wait it out. And honestly, having a bag full of little things works so much. Like, for example, in my backpack, I end up having some colored pencils, I have some projects to work on, some people bring books, and also a water bottle where I can keep full, and tons of snacks, and of course a charger for my phone, because this being an older phone, it dies very quickly, and you do need that phone because all the pairings and such are online through the RK9 profile. Now, for juniors, it can be a little bit more difficult, especially if they have never done a regional event before. For example, my son, this is his first regional event ever, and it's one of those things he's learning a lot. It's a lot of stuff going on mentally. He's learning about wins, losses. He's even learning of how to handle penalties. And he's meeting so many new people. And whether he wins or loses, I'm still 100% proud of him. Why wouldn't he be? He's doing what he can, and he's trying. And to me, trying, that's the most important part of it all. That and, of course, having fun.
So, just finished day 1. Score was 3 wins, 5 losses, 0 ties. Sadly, didn't make it into day 2. And kind of glad I didn't just drop out.